welcome back to this episode of Fireside Chat. In this episode, we're going to be discussing a topic that one of our listeners has requested that I do. And if you have a topic, subject, or any questions you want me to detail in a Fireside Chat, please let me know by leaving in the comment box below or sending me a private message through YouTube. So this listener's request was the transitioning of going from city life to the homesteading life. What's the hardships? How do you mentally prepare yourself? And how do you adjust from going to a 9-to-5 job to homesteading, where some days you're free all day? So as we dip into this, you gotta look at the picture. You're in the city, you're working a 9-to-5 job, 5 days a week, maybe working 2 jobs, maybe 3 jobs. Your time is taken up from the morning when you wake up and you have your 5-minute to 2-hour commute to work, then your 8-hour shift or 12-hour shift or 10-hour shift, and then you get off and you have a 5 to 2-hour commute back home. So at that point, your time is pretty much done. When you get home, you basically shower, clean yourself, make dinner, sit down, maybe watch a movie, maybe read an hour or 2 of a book, or listen to some music, or try to get some things done around the house. Then you're in bed, and you're back up early in the morning, right back at it. You're in a hamster wheel. You're going in circles. Then the weekend comes, you have your time off. You go out to bars, drinking, partying, friends, whatnot, what have you. And that's pretty much your life. And you live that same week, every week, basically for the rest of your life until retirement, if you can retire. So how do you adjust from that to go into homesteading, where it's a slower pace, where you have more time to think, where more ideas and questions and reality set into your brain and make you think about things you've never thought about before? Simple. You take it one step at a time. You can either do what I did, and you get into a situation where you're losing your house in foreclosure and you got to be out, pack your bags, move on to your homestead, and that's your new life. You got to do it cold turkey. There's some people that can do things cold turkey. There's some people that can't. For those that can't, they can't jump into that ice cold pool. They have to dip their toe in, then their ankle, then their knee, and so on and so forth. Then that's exactly what you got to do with homesteading. Once you have that land that you purchased, that doesn't mean you have to be a homesteader. That does not mean you have to move on that land immediately. That does not mean you have to start building immediately and get chickens and a greenhouse and vegetables and fruit trees. Quite contrary. What you need to do, if you can't jump right into it, is dip your toe in. You bought the land. That's your first step. So then go down to your ankle. Go out on a day trip. Take a barbecue pit out with you. Barbecue up a hamburger, hot dog. Take a friend or 2 with you. And just make it a day outing on one of the weekends or one of your days off of work. Go out, enjoy the land. Enjoy your homestead, your property. Once you get used to that, then go out, go camping. You can go in a tent. You can go out in a hammock between 2 trees. You can take out an RV. Go out for the weekend. Camp. Then the next time, and next time, and next time, until you're comfortable being on that land. Then, while you're out there camping, that's the perfect thing and perfect time to go ahead and strategize. Plan everything out. Paint that painting, like I said in one of my earlier episodes. Go ahead, start designing. Get some little flags from Home Depot or Lowe's hardware store. Get some tape, get some string, get some rope. Start marking out areas. You're camping here, you don't quite like the views, you don't quite like the wind that comes through. So move your campsite over here. Camp here for a weekend or two. If you like it over here, go ahead, rope that area out and say that's where I want to build my homestead. Then start picturing out the land. Start painting and designing. Say the chickens would do pretty good here because the wind blows that way, it will blow the smell that way. And that's the thing, you don't have to rush becoming a homesteader. The only thing that I recommend rushing is if you are truly guaranteed wanting to live a homesteader life. Because if you take your time and dip your toe in, and then your ankle, then your knee, you're not going to see satisfaction quickly. It's going to be years and years down the road. Such as with me. I've been here on the homestead for 5.5 years. I have not planted fruit trees yet. I will be planting fruit trees this spring. Now you're thinking, okay, well, you're planting fruit trees now, so why does that matter? Well, it matters because I've been here for 5.5 years. It takes fruit trees between 4 to 6 years to produce fruit. So if I would have dove over heels into this homestead when I first got on this land and started going right to work, which I didn't, I was still trying to live the city life, I could have fruit in my fridge, on my counters, in my belly right now. Because I didn't plant those trees 5.5 years ago, I don't have fruit right now. So if you want quick benefits, then go to my previous video, or 2 videos ago, which was homesteading A to Z, start to finish, and that will show you the process of starting. And you can go ahead and bump everything out, one after the other. Another hardship of going from city life to the country life, the homesteading life, is the lack of convenience. Until you're able to hook up solar or get grid electric if they have it in your area, until you get your rain catchment or a city water line or water being hauled in and you have everything hooked up, you lose that ease of convenience. Basically, when you get onto your land until your house is built, just like in the city, if you moved into a 2x4 framed house that had no walls, no drywall, no insulation, and you lived in that with no plumbing, no electric, it's glorified camping. You have a roof over your head, and that's pretty much it. Another hardship that you're going to be used to in the city that you don't have in the country is I can't walk out my door, walk 2 blocks, and be at a convenience store. I can't drive a mile down the road and be at Walmart. I can't drive a mile down the road and be at Home Depot. That's another hardship that was hard for me to get used to because I'm used to being so socialized, being able to talk to people. I ran several businesses. I was always around people, always talking to people. But one thing you're going to realize, and this is a truly magical benefit of homesteading, is once you're out here on the homestead, when you go to town, you don't feel that anymore. You don't feel the need to be around those people, to be in that traffic. And you're going to go living on a homestead, and when you go to town, even if you go to a small town like I do to do my shopping, you know, 2 or 3 slow cars in front of you when you can drive fast down country roads. It's traffic, even though I'm not in a big city anymore. And then you start realizing that once you're homesteading, that the people that you were around really never cared about you. It was all about the social media, the Facebook, the Twitter, YouTube, everything else, and trying to be better than the next person. You wanted to have that white picket fence, the 2-story house, the 2 cars, and then you wanted to rub it into your so-called friend's face and go on an exotic vacation and say, oh, look at what I did, and show all the pictures on Facebook and YouTube and everything else to all your friends. When you're homesteading, you're not going to be worried about all of that. Why? Because you're going to be enjoying life. One of the great benefits, which I experienced today, was I woke up, it was 16 degrees out, and I laid in bed all day. I went out, I fed the animals, which takes me like 2 minutes, watered them, took me like another 2 minutes, brought my Minnie Mouse Anatolian Shepherd in, so she could play with her brother in the house all day, and that was pretty much it. I laid in bed, I watched movies, I played Tetris and games online, and I enjoyed the day. When you're in the city, you don't have that luxury. You don't have that benefit. If you don't have a sick day left, if you've taken all your sick days and you say, oh, I just feel like staying home and relaxing, you can't do that. And that's one major benefit of homesteading. If you don't feel like working that day, you don't have to work. Now you got to take hand in hand. If one of those days you're supposed to have work done and you don't do it because you want to be lazy, it could bite you in the butt. Such as in one of my videos you saw, I was almost out of firewood, and when we had the 3 days straight of snow, I ran out a day and a half into the snowstorm. I never filled my water cistern in the house, so I ran out of water for a day and a half. Until the sun came out that 4th day and melted, and I could shovel out a path from my cistern to my house to run the hose to put water back in my house. I ran out. Why did I run out? Because I was lazy. I didn't do it on a good sunny day when I could have done it, and that's what happens homesteading. You have the luxury of being lazy, but you also have the hardship of if you're too lazy and don't do what needs to be done, you're either going to be cold because you didn't bring wood in for the fire or chop wood for the fire. You're not going to be able to take a shower or do dishes or flush a toilet because you didn't transfer your water. Or anything else that could happen. If you didn't pull your vegetables in before that frost or freeze comes in, you could lose all them vegetables. They could be no good. And if you would have pulled them that day before, you would have been fine. But because you wanted to be lazy, you lost food and vegetables. So there's all different things, all different problems, hardships, and benefits of transitioning from the city to the homesteading life. My best thing to tell you is if you're not ready to step right into homesteading, take it slow. Take it step by step, baby steps, just like we've all been taught from birth to where we are now. That has been a saying everybody's heard. Take baby steps. Building blocks. You don't build a castle overnight. Same thing with a homestead. I jumped right into my homestead because I moved right onto land. I didn't camp on the land or nothing. I moved straight onto it and I started. Now, is my homestead done and running like a perfect oil machine? No. And I'm 5.5 years into it. So if you do not have money, that's one thing you're going to have to also realize. You're not going to have a 2,000 square foot house on your homestead with running water, electric, heat, everything at a push of a button like you have in the city unless you're willing to spend the money. In order for me to do electric heat in my house, I would have to spend another $55,000 to $60,000 in solar. So is that worth it to me? No. Why? I buy firewood. I decided this past winter, I've been retired up here on the homestead for 5 years. I'm no longer doing hard, tedious work like cutting firewood. So I buy my own firewood now. So yes, that runs into my pocket. It costs me money. But guess what? There's all that time I didn't have to slave all summer long, all fall long, chopping wood, splitting wood, stacking wood. I just have it delivered, throw it in my wood stove. And once it's in the wood stove, I got a nice hot fire. It keeps the house warm. It keeps my vegetables growing upstairs. And it gives me creature comfort. From the city, you also got to realize the power. even when you get solar, unless you're able to spend tens and tens of thousands of dollars on solar, you're not going to be able to go and press a button and have whatever you want. You're going to have to learn the total differences, such as a microwave. A microwave uses 1,000 watts. So on my solar, since I only have a certain amount of solar, I got a 700 watt microwave. That takes less power, and when I'm done with it, I unplug it. In the city, you leave everything plugged in. But there's ghost currents that go through electronics. So if you don't unplug, little LED lights, everything else is consuming power. It all adds up. Just like if you have a leaky faucet, that one drip over 24-hour period could come out to 2 or 4 gallons of water. If you're only getting so much water off your roof, do you really want to have that leaky faucet, or do you want to go ahead and fix that leaky faucet so you never run out of water? That's things you're going to have to think about as a homesteader, and things that you never ever thought about living in the city. Because in the city, it's convenient, it's easy, and you work your 9-to-5 job, and you don't mind spending that money to do it. What's up, Minnie Mouse? But homesteading, like I've said in multiple videos, in my opinion, is the best way to go. It's going to be a transitioning period that could be difficult and prove difficult for some of you. But others of you, once you get out there, you dipped your toes in, you dipped your ankles in, you're going to realize how nice it is, how easy it is, and how much more time you have. And that's the problem we have on this planet. We only live so long. We only have so much time. Do you want to spend that time in that cubicle, 9 to 5, 5 days a week for the rest of your life with a boss that you don't like, with a job that you utterly hate? Or do you want to come out like our forefathers, like our ancestors, like humans have been living for thousands and thousands of years, and enjoy your time? Lay in bed and relax during the day. Sit outside for 3 hours and stare at the mountains. Or spend a couple hours at night with a sleeping bag on the roof, watching the stars go by. All I can say is homesteading's the way to go. It's going to bring you happiness. It's going to bring you inner peace and less stress. So with that, I hope you enjoy this. I hope my viewer that requested this, I hit on all the topics and points that he wanted me to hit on. If not, please comment below. And if any of you have any comments or subjects that you want, please leave those down below in the comment box, and I'll squeeze them into one of the fireside chats. With that, have a great night. Hope you enjoyed.
Live happy, live free. That's the only way to be.